What's up, everybody? So today we are working on the Explorer once again. Now in the last video you guys saw, we ended up doing the hubs on this vehicle just because there was an issue with it where the vehicle was engaging into like ABS, traction control, four-wheel drive was kicking on. Couldn't have that. It ended up being the wheel speed sensors, but usually, like I said in the previous video, wheel speed sensors typically mean that the bearings are going bad, and we had heard a little bit of a humming sound coming from this car, so we went ahead and replaced that. That seemed to fix everything, but when I fixed all that stuff, I noticed that the brake pads, the rotors, everything on the front end was pretty worn out. So I think it's time to go ahead and fix that all up, get it back to new, and then my mom can start driving it again. So everything we ended up picking up for today is sitting right here. I ended up getting new end links, which you guys can see there. We got new rotors, new pads, as well as a new serpentine belt, because I noticed that it's pretty worn out, the one that's on here currently. And once we get all this stuff done, I figure this vehicle's been gone for a little while, so we might as well do a little bit of an update, kind of discuss what the plans are with it, what's happening with it, and kind of like what happened to all of our repairs, and just discuss over that stuff. So for now, let's go ahead, jump in, and get this whole thing fixed. Alright, so first thing we have to do is take off the caliper. There's two 14mm bolts here and here, top and bottom. Those will come out releasing this. We get the brake pads, but then we also need to remove the bracket itself, which is two 18mm here in the back. So we'll get those out so we can remove that and then access the rotor and replace everything. So let's go ahead, get this all off. Okay, so now we managed to get everything out. We got the rotor off, the caliper and the the caliper bracket off with the brake pads. The caliper itself is sitting over there on top of the bucket, so it doesn't stretch out the hose or anything. All I have to do now is compress the pistons in the caliper, replace the brake pads in this, and put the new rotor on, and then we should be good. Alright, so here is a replacement rotor. We're going to need to clean this off because it's got a bunch of oil on it. And then here are the brake pads. I don't want to touch them because I got oil on my gloves right now. You can see there it comes with all new hardware. So let's clean these off and throw them on. Okay, so I went ahead. I got the rotor here cleaned up with some brake clean. Next up, I'm going to prep this hub up a little bit. I got some of this anti-seize here just to keep it from rusting to it. And just makes it so if we ever do repair, take it off, it'll come off easily. So let's go ahead and put that on next. And there you guys have it. We got the rotor on. So next up, let's go ahead and put our caliper bracket back on with the brake pads. And all we have to do left is compress that piston. So just like that, we got this side all done, ready to go. So now I have to go do the other side. Okay, so we just managed to get this side's brakes done. They're completed now. Next up is the end links. I couldn't really show you guys too much on this side just because of how tight this space is. I mean, you guys can see that wall kind of extends out. So we're going to do the end link next. This side is the one that has it broken. I'll grab a light here so you guys can see it a little bit better. But yeah, you can see there it is snapped off. So I need to replace this side as well as the other one, because if you're going to do one side, you might as well do them both. But as far as filming goes, we'll film it on the other side just because I have much more space over there. Okay, so now we're over here on the passenger side. I just managed to get the swibber end link out. That was kind of a pain to get out. Unfortunately, I couldn't really film it, but basically it just slides in there. It's a 16mm bolt on top as well as on the bottom. It's just like a threaded nut. Once you get that out, the whole thing kind of slides out. In this case, it was so seized up and rusted in there, you pretty much just had to pry on it until it popped loose. So now that that's out, we can go ahead and install this new one, which looks much better compared to this one. So this shouldn't be too bad. Basically the same exact idea. You just kind of put the rod through, the bushings go in between the sway bar here and within the lower control arm, and then just tighten it up. So just like that, the sway bar end link is in place now. Okay, so we went ahead, we got the car back on the ground, wheels are back on it, everything's torqued down and ready to go. So one last thing to do is go ahead and throw on our new serpentine belt. I have it sitting right here. So this is the new one here. And then in order to get this off, you need a 3/8 ratchet. Let me grab my light so you guys can see down inside there. The 3/8 ratchet connects onto that idler pulley. It's so dark, I don't know if you guys can really see anything. I've already got this pole and stuff, or this extra tubing set here, so the ratchet has something to set on, and it just fell. But you guys can kind of see it, it's this here, and it just connects right there. Maybe you guys can see it a little bit better. And as far as like the diagram and stuff goes, you can see right there, this is a 4-liter single overhead cam, so that's the routing diagram. So basically all you gotta do is just get that pulley loose, take the belt off, and replace it with the new one. Well, we just managed to get the Explorer all done for the most part. I wasn't able to do the serpentine belt because the one I got happened to be too big, so now I have to return that one and go get a new one. Currently though, the auto parts stores are all closed, so I'll just do that on my own time, and we'll just go ahead and move on to the next thing, which I kind of want to discuss what the plans were with the Explorer, just because it's been so long since it's been on the channel, and go over like where it's been, what's kind of happened to it, and how all the repairs and stuff that we've done so far have held up. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with like all the repairs and stuff. I'll go ahead and show it to you guys here. We had done like the bumper, the fender, all the exterior stuff underneath, the frame rails and everything, and then the patch panel in the back there, which so far everything's held up pretty good. The fender here on the front, only issue is the where we did the repair, the self-etch primer that I sprayed started going through it and making a little bit of rust. So all I need to do for that is just sand that back down and respray it with some self-etch. I should probably do the entire fender because it only has one layer of E-coat on it from the factory, so it's got a pretty good chance of rusting, and I don't want that to happen just because we've already replaced it and it has no damage to it. So that'll probably be something we do here in the future. As far as the back goes, the repair that we did has held up great. I haven't had any issues there with it at all, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now these areas here where I just kind of ground down the 2 little rust spots and then put Pour 15 and stuff over it, the rust has started coming back, which I kind of figured was going to happen, which I don't know, I'm not too worried about it. I kind of mentioned that in the previous video. We're going to put fender flares on this thing, so it's going to cover all that stuff up. I mean, if it does rust, it rusts. It's whatever. It's no big deal at this point. Underside, we did the frame rails and everything. Haven't had any issues with that. Everything's held up really good since driving it in the winter and everything. So, I don't know, pretty much it as far as like the updates on the vehicle go. As far as like the future plans for it, everything is pretty much the same. The only thing that has changed so far is going to be like changing the color of the vehicle. I really wanted to dip it, but currently with our space we have here, don't have any room, don't have my compressor, so that won't be happening. May have to look into other options. Kind of thinking about doing vinyl wrap just because I've never really done that before. I kind of want to give it a try, so we'll see. We might have to try that here in the future. and then basically where the Explorer's been. Now it's been gone for, I don't know how even long, maybe 6-7 months now, I'm not sure, but it was gone all winter and everything. It was my mom's daily driver. She just kind of used it as like a winter driver or winter car because it's 4-wheel drive. She originally had the Monte Carlo, which you guys had seen on the channel first when I first started doing YouTube. I just made like a bunch of little how-tos and stuff on that car. We had fixed that car all up. It was nice. It ran great, but then it just started having issues. It started rusting out really bad. So decided to get rid of that car. So that was gone. So then she only had one other car that she could drive besides the Explorer, which was a Chrysler LeBaron, which that's a convertible. She didn't really care to drive that in the winter at all because, I mean, it's convertible. She kind of babied that car and everything. But she had it sitting out in the parking lot one day, and some crazy lady came flying through, which I don't even know how she got up to this kind of speed in just a short amount of distance, and somehow took out like this big Silverado, her Explorer, the lady's personal car, and then I think she came close to hitting this other car, but she didn't quite hit it. I'll post pictures up here for you guys to see it, just because the way it happened is kind of crazy. But that car got taken out, so then all that was left was just her Explorer. So that's pretty much all she's been driving now, and that's why it's been gone for so long, is because it's her only car as of right now. There's still plenty of stuff that I want to do to this Explorer. There's, like I said, the fender flares, changing the color. We still got to fix the hood because it has that little bit like the aluminum rust and stuff on it. I want to do new lights and everything around it just to clean it all up, make it look new. All the maintenance stuff is out of the way now, so we are good there. Aside from wheels and tires, the wheels are starting to kind of get pretty thin. There's not a lot of tread left. They're starting to kind of dry rot, so those need to be changed out. And I kind of want to throw different wheels on here just because it's the off-road build. We need to make it stand up, make it taller, make it look better, more aggressive. So hopefully we can get that stuff done here in the future. But otherwise, that should be about it. I think I covered everything I want to talk to you guys about, and everything's fixed on this. So now she can have this back and start driving again. So if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, because I think the next thing we're going to be doing is the Civic manual swap. Hopefully we can do something with the rear subframe, or I guess front subframe here, get that repaired, and I guess not repaired, just cleaned up. But yeah, that should be it. I guess I will see you guys in the next one.